this thing on? Let me know in the chat if I sound normal and you can hear me well. If my audio is normal, not if I sound normal, because that's not true. Kevin, hey, bud. Been a while, man. Livewire for Dummies is going to be my next big project for the channel. Yeah. Subscribe button, activate the bell in the meantime. Hey, Thomas. AJ. Cool. All right. We got people hanging out. Sounds normal. All right. Great. Well, how's everybody doing? How's everybody's Friday going? Mine's going great. The sun is shining through the office window, and we just poured ourselves some tea. So make sure, I know I said grab coffee, but I meant tea. Yeah. Right, Adrian. I know I don't sound normal. No, the Stream Deck comes in later today. We're very excited for the Stream Deck. And I'm probably only, it's one of those things. It's like, it's already, what am I saying? It's like you want to buy a really nice mic, so you start a podcast, I'm not saying I'm streaming because I want a Stream Deck, but it definitely is like factors into it. No foot pedal. Adrian, why do I, Dan Heron. Hey, how's it going? Dan, this is like old times. Dan, Adrian's like OG crew hanging out on stream. Aren't the Livewire docs pretty much Laravel for Dummies? Yeah. Yet to find someone who didn't get it after reading them. Yeah, I mean, I hope that's the case. I want that to be the case, Yeah. I need to ask Aaron about the foot pedal. I heard you guys talking about that on Twitter, or saw it, and I'm like, what could they possibly do with the foot pedal? Mute is something I could imagine doing. Or like, if you're recording a screencast, having a foot pedal to mark a mistake is probably friggin' awesome. Yeah, where is Lance? I saw him at Laracon. I'm sure you did too. He was there and amped, about Livewire and everything. Hello. So I got it. Adrian, is that what it's for? Okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right, I guessed it. Part of the promo I did, I wasn't going to use it for anything, but I decided to try it out with PHP Storm, low-key brilliant product. Yeah, I think I'm going to really dig this Stream Deck. If anybody doesn't know what we're talking about this thing by Elgato that you put on your desk and you program its buttons to do stuff. Have you guys seen this generative AI thing? I just enabled it in Google, and I'm not sure if I like it or not. But yeah, so I got this one with the knobbies, and yeah, I'm pretty pumped. Like streaming, I have not, I'm not like showing you my face or anything like I used to. Just kidding. No, my office is a freaking mess, so it's just a pile of junk. If you guys like really lobby me, I'll keep this on. But yeah, I say all that to say, it would be cool to have a sweet like stream studio that looks really nice for screencasting and everything. But I want to be in a place that I like the look and feel of in general. And when you see behind the scenes of all the people's fancy streaming setups, it just looks like this ugly studio, There's just big lights everywhere and clamps everywhere and wires everywhere and green screens and crap, and that's just not really nice. So I think maybe it's like my goal is to achieve both, like somehow get like a nice streaming setup, but that also just feels really clean and like a good place to just work. So, all right, well, let's do some actual freaking, work here. We're not here to just hang out, guys, even though I said that. Been thinking about Vue Transitions API. I saw the other day the way Svelte implemented it, and it's pretty clever. Would a PR interest anybody? I'd be very interested in exploring Vue Transitions. Okay, yeah, that would be a fun stream in itself. Like, I don't know anything about Vue Transitions. I just know that it's like a browser native thing, and that it would probably be surprising how cool it is. And that would be a fun one to do. Yeah, you can't get the handsomeness because of a few boxes. Clean your place, do photo, use a green screen. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to keep it real over here with Amazon boxes and totes of random wires and stuff. Salah, is that how you pronounce your name? But I recognize you from GitHub. How's it going? Okay, so yeah, we're talking Stream Deck. Before I kind of launch in anything, this is a time where you can tell me like what you think I should work on, or maybe throw a PR or a question my way, whatever, and we'll get to it. But I do have a few things. One of them is an Adrian PR, so I guess that's a user submitted PR, a viewer submission. One question: if you thought of a fun story about how the Livewire jelly lost its legs, shark attack, with a brave hero involved. Dude. I mean, you got me thinking now. It is fun. This is the actual story of how the Livewire jelly lost its legs. We hired Martin Rariga to do the redesign, and he submitted it with the jelly without legs. And that's it. I think he did it intentionally. Who knows? Maybe like he accidentally cropped it out of the SVG, or maybe something. Who knows? But I thought I saw it and I was like, oh, that's pretty bold. Like you just like mutilated our logo. And I was like, you know what? He probably has a better eye for this than me, and that actually looks kind of clean. Let's just do it. So now the naked jellyfish is kind of the standard logo. But yeah, we need a better story, a real story involving a shark, a diver, or maybe the legs just retract when he's scared of how cool V3 is. All right, yeah, justice for the lake. Someone should make a Livewire jelly short video. Nice, Disney. Yeah, I agree, Dale. All right, so let's look at Adrian's pull request. Form object validation, uninitialized properties. Yeah, there's some life cycle stuff going on here. This is the stuff that I currently am the most scared of. Is public properties. Dan knows what I'm talking about. Adrian knows what I'm talking about. Public properties with types that are nullable and aren't initialized when they need to be, or you try to access them before initialization, and Livewire doesn't know how to handle them properly. So they scare me for sure. So maybe we actually don't like dive into something as deep as that to start, but I definitely want to tackle it. Matt Swanson, how's it going? Enter the stream, naked jellyfish. Yes. We're talking nudie jellyfishes. I believe I did say nudie. I should have if I didn't. All right. So yeah, we're gonna do some stuff. Like, what are we gonna do? There's a end progress style sheet. The whole progress bar for Wire Navigate is like a whole thing we could design on a stream at some point. Like, because there's no way. Somebody tweeted today, like, is there a way to customize the color of the progress bar for Wire Navigate? And there's currently not, because I don't know what the config story is there, but I didn't feel like I nailed it out of the gate, and I wanted to wait till I nailed it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still looking for somebody to push me in a direction. Ryan Chandler. Okay, we got the real OG crew going here. Push me in a direction. You guys tell me, what are we working on this morning? I have a few PRs here. There's add nonce to end progress style sheet, some public property, some synth things, some kind of like deeper things that I don't always want to just sit and wrap my head around, but on a stream, I'm on my best behavior, so I'm willing to. But hey, if you guys, we could do anything. CSS variables wouldn't be the solution. Yeah, maybe they would be, but that would be like a totally new thing, you know? Color of the progress bar seems fun and low barrier to entry. There we go, Matt. There we go. I know, it has been a minute. It feels really good to be back. All right, we're going to take Matt's cue. We're going to see, let's do some end progress bar stuff. Like, let's just kind of start with a pull request from somebody. Let's also just search for any end progress pull requests. Is PR is open, and I guess we can still sort end progress. Just want to make sure there's not like two. Let's just search progress, and weird. End progress shows up in the search, but progress doesn't. How silly is that? Is that not silly? I think that's silly. Okay, All right. So let's sing some Eminem. Yeah, we should do that. We should open up the stream with some Eminem. All right, Zuzana, hey, how's it going? Cool. Everybody's hanging out here. All right. So let's do it. Let's see if we can think of a good way to customize the. Here, let me get this. Let's get Visual Studio Code up in here going. Okay. And we're on a PR already. Okay. Get pull already up to date. And yeah, let's just do it. We'll make a feature. Why not? That's the most fun thing to do. Get checkout, new branch. Let's say add progress bar config, something like that. Okay. And then this is the kind of thing, you know, we could probably, yeah, we could do this in a dusk test. Let's start in a dusk test. So here's how I would kind of start this feature. I'd go to, oh, let me get this chat going. I got to keep the chat open. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. I'm actually being a good streamer now. Like I have 2 screens going, where for the longest time I had to like stick it on the side of my main screen, which was really dumb. CSS variables sound like the simplest solution. Yeah, that's probably true. Let's get a test going, even if we're not like testing colors might not be the simplest thing, but I kind of start everything with a dusk test that's, you know, JavaScripty. So features, here's the features folder in Livewire 3. Let's find support, navigate, bam, right there. And then we already have a browser test for support, navigate. And this is actually one of the biggest kind of growing browser tests that's a little complicated because Wire Navigate spans across routes. You have to do all this like registering routes and referencing them from tests. But let's add a new test at the bottom here. Where's the bottom? This is the bottom. Let's add a new test, and like even if we're just going to use this so that we have a browser, that's going to be nice. So let's say can customize the color of the progress bar. All right. And let's visit first page, I think, or maybe it's just called first. And like maybe we probably want the simplest version of this test. So let's grab like one of the first tests. What can configure progress bar? Oh, because you can already configure that it shows up or not, but we're doing the color. So it actually kind of belongs right next to there, I think. Can customize progress bar color. Okay, and then let's find that other one, progress bar, and we'll just remove what I just added there. Okay, and let's get back to can customize progress bar color. And for now, we'll just add this tinker here so that we can get just a browser window. Grugbrain put Livewire progress bar class and let apps define that CSS class. That, I mean, that's pretty simple. That is very simple. Yeah, comments in the style. I don't know. All right. So let's see a progress bar here. Let's put our network way down, slow 3G. If I hit go to second page, okay, there's the progress bar. It showed up. Probably even want to make it like hang. I don't even know how you would do that. But anyway, yeah, end progress. I don't know. Let's look at end progress on the internet and see what they say for customizing, you know, because this is one of those, well, I'll show you where I actually use it, bar.js. It might even still be commented out. I wrote my own progress bar, but then just went with end progress. For obvious reasons, but let's see. So end progress configure, you can configure stuff up here. Inject styles. Where does inject styles from? Okay, that's, yeah. Now there's actually an open PR because when we inject these styles, like it's a content service policy or whatever, content security policy violation for people who need like a nonce. All right, so CSS variable. People are saying CSS variable. People are saying CSS class. We got to figure that out. So I guess I wrote all these styles maybe or something. So this is kind of the bit here. End progress dot bar and then customizing that background. Let's just verify here. Let's get a build going. We already have a build going. And yeah, let's just make this black and then refresh, throttle, slow 3G, and go to second page, and it is black, but the spinner's not black. So we probably want those to be the same, right? Fancy blur effect. So spinner, display block, spinner icon, border top color, border left. So these must be, yeah, okay. So the spinner must be a like a hack, CSS hack where the border turns into like a, you know, like border, whatever, border radius is probably, yeah, 50%. So it turns it into like a circle. Okay. So there's a few things there. Yeah, a CSS variable is the way to go. So here's the thing. I don't really know how to write a CSS variable by hand off the top of my head. So, oh, now you're going to see all my chats again and make funny comments about how smelling works. How do I make a CSS variable called progress bar color and reference it inside a background CSS property? All right, so it's the hyphen thing. Yeah, okay. So if we just reference this, how do we do a default? You just define it. This is so funny how freaking like of a novice I am at new CSS. All right, so like here we would have this, right? And we can rename that 29D, and then here we also have this. And then I guess like, how do we define this so that it can be easily overridden, you know? Like, do we do this :root thing? Is that how they work? You guys can tell me in the comments while you're laughing at me. 29D. Okay. All right. What's the chat going on here? So define root, add a second argument and oh, you can do that? You can just add a fallback as a second argument? Great. Let's just do that. I like that a lot better. Do I like that better? Because then we have to define it in multiple places. But it's fine. Like, this is just a tiny little thing. Who cares? Right? I don't care. Do you care? Okay. So let's do this, and let's make sure that the color is the same. All right. Slow 3G. Come on. Slow 3G. Go to first page. Color is good. Now, when we tell people to customize it, okay, I just want to say, hey, thank you for making it work. Yeah, thanks, Valentine. And prefix them with Livewire. Gotcha. Yeah. So, yeah, like we still have to find, like, I gave this name 2 seconds of thought. So let's do this because we're just, totally jumping around. Let's go to navigate.markdown, and do we even basic usage, redirects, prefetching links, persisting elements across page visits, updating the page before script evaluation, don't rely on DOM content, loaded script in the header, loaded once. Okay, like we need scripts in the body are reevaluated. Let's do this. Customizing the progress bar. And then I'll write the words at some point. But let's just kind of write the code snippets. Definitely prefix the bar names, yeah. Make 2 variables, one for the spinner, one for the bar, you think? All right. Yeah, let's see. So when we're telling people how to customize this thing, there's already a Livewire config for show progress bar. and then that's part of this config here. I guess it should say this even better. Why don't I just copy that? Yoink and yoink. Yeah, so if they want to hide the progress bar, they could do that. Here's the question. We already have this kind of precedent set for customizing the progress bar. This is like the only amount of customization you can do is toggle it. So it kind of would make sense to have like this. That's like null by default, but then you can add your own color, So that makes a lot of sense. Seems like simple, and then I guess the con of this approach is that it's in the config. I don't love configs in the config file in general. It also lives in PHP, so we have to find a way to get it from PHP into JavaScript. And I don't love that because I don't know, maybe I need to get more comfortable with config being shoved into JavaScript. We already have like a system to do it. But what's the alternative? Like, is the alternative just like, hey, somewhere in your style sheet, let's at least write that out. Somewhere in your style sheet on your page, whatever, let's just do this so that in style, you would have a definition like this. And would it be root? Like, I don't even know what :root is. Is that just like a pseudo selector for HTML or whatever the root of the page is? Render it in the Livewire style. Okay, Dan says if nesting a variable within the default of another variable is possible, you can define two variables, but use one as the default, so you don't have to define. Yeah, I think, nesting a variable within a default of another. I got you. So define a variable called the default and then put that as the second. Yeah. Root is basically the HTML tag. Okay, so in case you're on a page or like a non-HTML document or something, or maybe this just looks nicer. I don't know. Okay, so root Livewire progress bar color. Is it fine to have a massive word like that? Like, is that too long? Is it Livewire progress bar color, Livewire bar color, Livewire progress color, Livewire n progress color, Livewire n progress bar color, Livewire progress bar? These are the options. Please vote in the chat what we should do. Good to have it's long if it's clear. So we got one vote for this. This is kind of the number one. Yeah, okay. First one is the clearest option. It is clear. Clear as day. Okay. So now we have to vote here. Like, simplest thing in the world to do is just straight up put some documentation that's like, hey, put the CSS selector or this, CSS rule in your project somewhere if you want to customize the progress bar. It's easier for me, easier for our code base, puts a little bit of the onus on the user's app where they now have to have like a place to put this and whatever, where this definitely seems more centralized and friendly, but then we have to do this work ourselves, which is probably it's actually not that big of a deal, because if they're using Livewire styles, we can inject it ourselves. Okay, so let's vote here. Do we make this a config file configuration, or do we just say define the rule yourself? You tell me. Config file or whatever else you want to say. Yeah. What's happening? Fabio. Fabio, when you're using Wire Navigate in Livewire, a progress bar shows up, but the color is blue by default. We're making a way to customize it and just, like stressing about small details. It's a really simple addition, but we're just, hanging out. You're totally different. Hey, congrats. Few people act in the favorless in the community like you do. Hey, I do sometimes, and other times I don't. I hope, I don't know. I like I like having sounding boards, I guess. Thanks. Config file. Okay, config. Everybody says config. Adrian says both. I vote CSS. Config sucks. Dan says config sucks. Hot take. Everybody says config except Dan. Config generates CSS variable. And then you can just override it in CSS. Both. All right. Okay. You want config? You get config. We have a requirement for not having the progress bar the same color on every page, so global setting won't work for that scenario. Ooh. You actually have a... Are you joking, Mark? That sounds like a joke. It sounds like you're trolling me. But maybe you have like different themed sections of your app. If that's a joke, that's a freaking funny joke. If it's not, I'm sorry that you have that. All right. Yeah. I mean, you can always override it, right? And add like important or something. I don't know. Yeah. I think we will make it null by default rather than, or do you think, oh my gosh, these are the decisions, folks. Progress bar color. Are you saying use hyphens here? Anyway, folks, these are the decisions. Do we put that default color here and then allow people to customize it? Or is this null? This is like, we're going to move at a snail's pace because it's like, if I can just crowdsource every decision. Also, apps where the user can customize the primary color, you can override the config if you want, but it feels icky. Also, apps where the user can customize the primary color, you can override the config if you want, but it feels icky. Yeah, you're saying, right. I got what you're saying. Dan's saying if an app chooses like a theme, like for example, maybe Filament would have themes, and one might be purple and one might be rainbow. You would want the progress bar to match, but one config's not going to do it. So Adrian votes for Dan. +1 for Dan. The option is now called Dan. Null will be funny. Provide a sensible default. Null makes it sound like no color. I dig that. Yep. Provide a sensible default. Filament panel is a great example. I mean, we should probably turn this into this, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So Mark, Dan, everybody, we're going to make it so that like, can't you just do something like, I don't even know, like, can you just do this in your own apps? Does that work, or does this screw over people who need to like customize it more deeply? You know, me for president. Add an option to toggle the spinner. Oh, because some people might not want the spinner. Is that what you're saying, Adrian? Interesting, Julius. Now we've made the name even longer. And now Adrian is saying, okay, so just tell me right now, Dan and Mark, what I'm proposing here, we have this config item with a color. You can change it. It'll change it site-wide. Internally, it sets a style in @Livewire styles like this. It will be documented so that we're forced to stick to this name, and then you can put this on any page you want with bang important, and then you're good, right? That's good. Yeah. All right. So progress bar, show progress spinner. You guys want that as well. Because we can override the color in CSS as long as we define it after the original definition. So I guess we can override it as long as we define it after the original definition. That should work. Spinner seems like the old days using Bootstrap themes. Yeah, I hear that. I guess it felt like cool at first because everybody just uses a progress bar, so it felt like kind of cool. But you're right. The spinner's lame. We should remove it by default. We maybe should just remove it and not even provide an option to re-add it. Yeah. I guess we can, I'm not going to like moderate the chat too much, but Shane, like if, you know, maybe don't like do full on support with Dan in the chat. Okay. Yeah, if you can make Livewire declare progress color false, then you can call it for middleware dynamically and do my own stuff without important. I know. I hear you, Dan, because like that is the way. The way is to have to tell people to do this in a service provider. Even just like this, you know? Like have a default, but then they can override it. Like whatever. And then in your middleware, you can do all this dynamically, like config. But the only reason I'm kind of shying away from this is the precedent is this right now. Like is config right now. We don't do this very often. We do it. Whatever, I'm going to stick to this, and Filament and apps that need to change them can just do it with CSS or whatever, and it's probably not that big of a deal. All right, all good, Shane. Dale, should you be able to set the progress bar delay also? Yeah, probably, but, you know, I don't know. Maybe. Cool that we went such an easy topic. Yeah. All right, so let's knock this out here. We got this is our config. Let's put this in. You know what's really nice about having this as a sub item? I don't have to write a perfect 3-line, 3-character fewer bit for a new addition. Progress bar color. All right, that's our config. And now let's go into front end assets and styles. This is where we generate the styles. And here, let's say, let's do this. Wow, I don't know what language I'm using. So this will be config progress bar color with a default of, yeah, this is kind of the annoying thing, is I'm like hard coding the default here as well, but it's fine. Okay, so progress bar color, if you define it, whatever, that's going to have this default otherwise. And then inside here, we'll do, let's do it right here. We're going to say, and I guess this will be where we define like any CSS properties in general, or variables. Like this is kind of a precedent for the future, I guess. Livewire progress bar color, and then here we'll just progress bar color. Yep. All right, and let's see if that works. So we're injecting it into styles, and I don't even know if styles are injected in the dusk tests. Okay, they are. Yep. Okay. So save it, and let's see if it worked. Let's just verify that in bar.js we're using, so we're using progress bar color here, where we want to say Livewire progress bar color. And we don't need this, but we could leave it in there as like a triple layer of whatever. All right, so let's verify. Let's go into here. And all right, network, no throttling. Slow 3G. Well, we didn't really customize it, so I guess we'll just see it be blue. And then, I don't know. I mean, we could, yeah, we might as well test it this way. So let's go to our browser test, and in here we do this. Let's see if this even works. I'm kind of doubtful that this would even work. We might need, I don't know. Let's try it. So Livewire dot, oh, I missed that. Did you guys say that in the chat? Did you guys catch that? Yeah, navigate.progress. It needs to be livewire.navigate.progress. You guys probably caught that. So config livewire.navigate.progress bar color. So let's do this. Let's yoink that. And then in browser test, let's do, which I'm not sure that this is even going to apply, but we're gonna try. So set this to black. All right, and this is just our first attempt. Run this test, put the network at slow 3G, and then go to second page. Yeah, and it's blue. And the reason it's blue is because it's really annoying to set stuff like config in dusk. And I'm trying to figure out if it's even worth it to frickin' do this, you know? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Or do we just... Do I still have the wrong config key? Not anymore, right? What's wrong with the spinner? Surely it would be useful to be able to customize or even disable it, but don't get rid of it completely. Fabio says don't get rid of it completely. Does anybody else want the option to have the spinner? It'd be nice to not have to like define a whole other config and stuff. Thanks, Edwin. You're a legend too, bro. Yeah, so we're here at trying to set a config. Let's do this. Well, that's not even going to work either. Let's search files to include source. I don't even know if this works, but let's just say visit. I just want to see if okay, so I'm searching basically all the dusk tests in our source folder. Yeah, and I want to see if we've used config in any of them. Okay, so that's navigate, config, livewire.layout. How did we do that? We just did it. We just did it here, and it just works. So maybe our code is bad because livewire.navigate.progress bar color, and then we've set that. All right, well, let's go to first here, which is, yeah, this is an annoying dusk test. I'm sorry for this. Let's do this. Mount, dd, and then inside front end assets, let's rip this out. dd config. Okay. And with any luck, this is going to be black, and then that'll kind of tell us like what's up. It should be dding. It's not. Oh, because we're on the second page. Yeah, so like, who wants me to waste their time here with this dusk test not passing? Let's boot. Let's I'll just commit what we have. I'll finish it on my own time and not bore you with me trying to get config to set a dusk thing. So we're gonna whip it, and yeah, I'm good with whip. And then we'll push it up. And we'll create this pull request, and then we can just move on with our lives. All right, add progress bar config. Add ability to customize the wire navigate progress bar color. Create the pull request, and there we go. So we have something started. That's good enough for me. All right. So back to hanging out and deciding what else to work on. Does anybody else have, you know, any thoughts? Anybody want to take it in a direction? Matt hooked us up with that like little starting point. Okay. All right. Well, we're just going to keep looking at pull requests until somebody says something. What is this? Oh, because this is a search. All right. Add nonce to end progress style sheet. So that's another, you know, pull request about this, but we already, you know, whatever. We already thought about this stuff. Add nonce to end progress bar style sheet. Let's glance at pull requests. So I've been kind of just sorting by comments, descending instead of by most recent. Yeah. So add lazy warning to use same root element type. Yeah, that's good. That's something. Add failing. I love morph marker problems now. But okay, so looks like the regex is too, like the morph marker injection regex is too gnarly for like a massive file. Yeah, so that's another thing for another time, I think. Am I right that wire transition is still a thing? It is. Yeah. Let's talk about that, Chris. Let's do another one of these doc sessions here. Yeah, interesting, Adrian. That's potentially true. My only thing that says maybe not is if you don't use wire navigate, those styles won't get injected right now. I think. I actually don't know, but I think it's like opt in where then it would be penalize everything. You're the only one who likes morph marker problems. Yeah, I was trying to think about that, Dan. Like, why do I like them? And by the way, Dan, they've been reworked like in a big way. So I'd be really curious to see what happens if you re-enable it. And I made this a lot easier. So Dan, if you ever run across issues, literally in this unit test, you just copy one of these, increment the number, decide how many markers should be there. Like if one marker should be injected, then just say one, and then just put HTML in, and then you just submit failing PRs. That way it's a little easier, but we rewrote everything and commented the crap out of it, and it's way simpler. This is the entire regex. So it's actually like not the most impossible thing to understand anymore. And it accounts for like every different type of thing. So yeah. So somebody asked something about wire transition, which is a thing, but it is undocumented. And we ran across something that was undocumented last time. And my problem is like, I think there's actually what happened last time is somebody was like, somebody said, wire ignore, like where's wire ignore documented? And we're like, oh, well, let's check. Nowhere. So I forced you into the line of questioning that goes through my head with something like wire ignore is like, where do you put it? And the answer is not simple. Especially in wire ignore's case. Wire transition, it would be a little bit easier. But here's that question. Where would wire : transition go? It's like we need a section. It's like a whole section just called directives. Like when you're on the Alpine docs, there's directives. And it's like a reference. So everyone has its own thing. We could have this in Livewire. It's like wire click, wire model, wire, whatever, loading. And then wire transition could just be in here. And I like that. I want to hear from you guys. Like, in my mind, I'm all about this kind of documentation. This is hard to find. This is like, I guess that's the difference between reference documentation and educational documentation. When you're jumping into something, you want to get taught, you want to get school right here. But then you want to just reference stuff when you come back to something. And you might even want to just scan this list and go like, what was that thing called? Like how, oh yeah, XHTML is a thing. Like, so let's get some more, input on that. So in Livewire, is there a section in the docs called directives that has all the wire colons? And wire transition would be in there. Wire ignore would be in there. Everything would be in there, fully documented. Obviously, those things are documented in other places like loading states, is basically the wire loading documentation. So does that then go into directives? That's the question forks. Matt Stenson likes the directives model. Do people like the directives model? Adrian, I found my tweet about something JMac showed me with regex. No URLs. Yeah, do something like Alpine docs way easier to find. Yeah, Guillerme agrees. Like once I had to swap A or something, not a problem. Okay, yeah, just catching up on chat here. I was trying to find something like that for Livewire today. So let's just do it here. We're in nav, okay. If we have this, and then inside here, like we would have, let's see if this would even work. Can I do this? And let's say wire loading. Well, it might just fail. Oh, I gotta be at Livewire. My local. Yeah, like it could be its own page really if we needed it to, if we didn't want the sidebar to be nasty. But look at Tailwind. Like when you're in the Tailwind docs, that sidebar, it's not like a scannable sidebar. It's freaking huge, you know? Which, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I guess I feel like this is overwhelming. So I don't really, I don't often like scroll down. This doesn't give me a ton of context. You know what I mean? In the sense that it doesn't help me with like where I am in the scope of what Tailwind offers. So maybe I don't like this. And I do like how Livewire you can kind of just see, Yeah, right. Yeah. Shane, how Laravel docs do it with the collection methods. Yeah. That's the other option. Like Laravel, might put it all in one page, every directive. And that might be the way. I search for anything in the Tailwind docs. You don't trust it. Yeah, like in the Tailwind docs, the sidebar is kind of, nobody's using the sidebar to navigate. The only reason I use the sidebar is maybe if I'm already on a page, like, whatever, some kind of flexi page or something, and then I want something very closely related, I would just be like, oh yeah, and doink, So yeah, that's a good idea. But it is slightly less discoverable where, okay, so let's see. How does that work? Does this work? Wow. How does it know? It knows because of the space. YAML just knows? That's kind of cool that you can just do that. Let's see if it can do this. Nope. Nope. All right. Let the official page SPA by default. Yeah. Like this, like our site should be an SPA by default. Absolutely, it should. I don't even know why I'm not using Wire Navigate on everything. That's my bad. I use search for anything in the Tailwind docs. Yeah. So here's the question that I'm proposing right now. Do we have this section called directives where we list out like wire? So I'd probably do like click, even though click could be any event. Click would just kind of help people get started. Click, model, yeah, maybe wire click, wire submit, wire model, wire loading, wire dirty, wire navigate. Yeah, because true, it could just have links to where it's documented either. Yeah, one page, either educational style or the ones that yeah, ignore. That's how YAML escapes, right? Maybe you can use backticks if you wrap the key in quotes. Oh, Dan Heron, smart boy. Maybe. Did it work? It worked. Nice, Dan. Like, I think those backticks are just being injected from like, oh, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like markdown rendering that, but I could easily add that. Good to know. Get rid of wire. Yeah, wire stream. Oh, right. Yes, wire stream. I know. Here's the reason. Let's talk about wire stream in a second. Let's talk about me. What are the other wire ignore, stream, loading, navigate, transition we need to add, init, pull. Yeah, so there are a bunch, yeah? Transition, init, pull. Yeah, this is definitely a missing part of the documentation. Wire, init, pull, dirty model. Offline. Yeah, offline is one that exists that shouldn't, because I don't think anybody's used it ever. I don't know, maybe they have. Pull, but in Alpine I use sidebar heavily because I want to learn and discover new things. That's what I think, Hooch. I agree. I feel that way myself. But it is tricky. Yeah. Like, that's kind of nice, right? That's nice. I like that. Do people like this? Is this the way? Is this the way? Shout out. Just say this is the way if you agree that it's the way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 I think so. Yeah. This is the way. There we go. Yeah, I was waiting for this. Okay. Yeah. This is the way. Yep. Okay, so now we just got to document all these. Like, do you mind just hanging out while we document all these on the stream? I joke. Add directives, documentation. Yeah, gotta happen. Yeah, it does. This like community driven docs development thing is great. Like, it's just great. These are the kinds of things that, like, these decision making trees are kind of stressful for me, and it's never the top priority. It's always like, oh, I'll just go look at the PRs and, tweak more PRs or whatever. It's like never, let's just ponder what's wrong with the documentation, But so this is like incredibly useful from you guys. I had to look at the entire source code to find it after your talk. Yeah. Yep. Oh, to find what, Fabio? You're talking about stream? Probably talking about stream. All right, let's talk about WireStream. This is why I didn't document it. If you go into WireStream, warning, this API is still in development and is subject to change. I don't know if this constitutes a valid, like, if this is legally binding, like if I can just say this and then get away with changes. That Derek Briggs, hey, how's it going? Wait, do these things happen often? This is is this my new morning hangout space? Yeah, I don't know. I used to do these a bunch and then I stopped for like 2 years, and I just started last week, and it just happened to be Friday again. I was like, let's just boot it up. Yeah, I honestly, I've been thinking about it a lot. Like most days I've just been like, I should just start a stream, because it's like less productive in one sense and way more productive in another sense, because I get all sorts of good feedback from the community, and like the decisions we end up making and just are like really, really, like I can't even overstate how valuable it is. But hey, Derek, welcome. Derek's like more like a front end guy. Derek is actually a designer. He designed, like helped design or whatever, drove the direction of the Tailwind Connect conference design stuff, and we hung out there and had a ball. And yeah, he's a designer, React guy. Yeah, hanging out amongst us Livewire folks, us PHP heads. All right, see you, Shane. Thanks for hanging. The difference between Tailwind and Alpine Livewire is the Tailwind I know what you want to search for and only the syntax, but Alpine Livewire I'm looking for. Yeah, so Hooch, you're saying like on the Tailwind docs, this overwhelming sidebar is fine because you're always going to search for, something specific that you already either know or the CSS equivalent of, and you're just like, what is letter spacing called again? Oh yeah, tracking, like that's how you use the Tailwind docs. Like it's very referencey, where with Livewire, you kind of need to look at a roadmap over just searching, because you might not know what's available, or you might not know the right. Absolutely, Derek. We should absolutely co-stream something. Nick, what's bothering you? The white bit at the bottom left of that window. Which window? Bottom left of the window. What window are you talking about? I wish I knew. Tell me. IDE? The white bit? Do I have a white bit? Thank you, Ryan. I didn't design it. Martin did, but definitely put a bunch of work into the content. What's gone now? I don't know, Nick. Maybe some weird. It was there before. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Let me know if it comes back. Okay. So, yeah, WireStream. Let me explain to you again why WireStream. It's so funny. These are the two reasons I haven't like documented it and said WireStream is the thing. Let's all do it. Reason A is ultimately like, okay, when PHP, this is where I wish I could just draw something. I need a pen. I'm going to do something. No, I'm not. I have a giant piece of paper on my desk, and I just like considered ripping my webcam off and just like drawing while holding the webcam, but that might be the jankiest thing in the world. All right. So yeah, here's how like streaming works. Normally when you make a Livewire request or any Ajax request is sent. Yeah. PHP does its thing, sends response, browser gets response. That's how Ajax requests work. In Livewire now with Wire Stream, mid request, so request is sent, PHP does its thing, and then user calls this arrow stream to something like, some stream target with some content. And this could be in a loop or from a streamed API endpoint like OpenAI, like ChatGPT or whatever. And then while ChatGPT is like sending you content, you can stream it directly to the front end. So what happens with stream, when you call this arrow stream, a response is initiated, but not completed. So you can stream a response in PHP literally by typing this header and sending headers. As soon as you send response headers, you've started a response, you've made a connection to the browser, and now it's just a long running response where you're not going to write this code like Livewire. Oh no, did my computer just freaking freeze? You're not going to write echo and like get the output buffer and whatever, but you could just echo hey, and then that will get sent over the wire to the browser. So Livewire wraps all this up. Here's the problem. This is the problem. When you initiate a response, a stream response like header or whatever, when you initiate it internally, Livewire calls header, you have to send the status code, and when you start streaming, it's 200 because it's successful. But let's say after you start streaming, you throw some error. Now the status code should be 500, but the header was already sent to the browser. The browser's already locked it in. It's already a successful status code. So any error handling is really weird after you start the stream. So that's not like a show-stopping thing. I've done a bunch of stuff like support streaming. I've done a bunch of stuff to like hack around like exception handling. I don't know where that code is, but to basically make sure that I'm still dealing with potential errors being sent, whatever. But that's just one thing that's just weird and not ideal, and I don't really have a great solution for, so it makes me think that streaming is more of an experimental feature. Okay, so that's reason A, streamed error handling. Reason B is much simpler, and this is the real reason I haven't like officially documented this, and we can literally decide right now like what to do, and I think I know what you'll tell me to do. But just to remind you of how like the stream API works in PHP, you would say stream to whatever, something called target, and then some content, right? Okay, then in your HTML, you have some div, and you say wire stream equals target, and now that div is going to receive the contents that you're streaming, and it appends them by default. It just keeps appending content inside this div, and I think you can say like replace true or something, and it'll replace the contents as it streams, but that doesn't matter. Here's the thing. I'm considering, is it a better API to, instead of specifying a key that you set in wire stream, to do like a CSS selector, and then you just have like this, and then it gets streamed. Here's the pros, here's the cons. The con is when you look at the HTML, you don't see the word wire stream, so it's not apparent why it's there. You just see ID target. A benefit though is that you can stream to like some target at the end of the body, like not even in your Livewire component. You could stream outside of it. And maybe you can kind of do that already, like, yeah. But I think it might be scoped to a specific component. I think like on stream, whatever. I probably do some query selector. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so that's really the question here. Is it fine to leave it like this? Is this a good API? Or should I explore like, I don't know, does anybody want like streaming to a CSS selector and the target being a CSS selector? Because that's, yeah. Keep current API, switch to CSS selector based one. The precedent for a CSS selector based one is when you teleport in Alpine or with Livewire with teleport. When you teleport to a CSS selector like the body tag or something. So that kind of feels a little similar there. Okay, let me get back to the chat here I've been ignoring. Livewire could use server sent events, absolutely, but why do I not use server sent events for streaming? Because that would be like long running. I consider these streamed responses just hang ups, responses. And server sent events, like when you would have to initiate the request with a server sent event. Whatever. I think there's a lot of potential for server sent events in Livewire. I use it for hot reloading, but I'm not sure that, hey, Philo is here. How's it going, Philo? But yeah, I think I'm just going to stick with the hanging response for now. It's a browser in the background with a white background. Oh, Philo knows. Okay, it's active in the dark background. I see. Wire elements. Oh, yeah. PHP fibers story time. I love PHP fibers. I just can't find a reason to use them ever. It does. So, demo for me, I vote B. B, keep current APIs. That third option, replace. No create. Oh, it's replaced. Did I say something else? No create an event hook function is. Sorry, I have to read through all these chats, and it's probably so lame for you guys. Maybe I'll put it. This is what I'll do. I'll read through it with you, and then you're not as sad. Okay, wire stream target. Oh, like Adrian, you're saying I could add. Oh, are you saying that it should be wire stream target in general? That's a double worder, which we don't have yet. So that's a no-go, unfortunately. Wire stream for me would fit better, like echo I want, wire stream +1. Okay, so what I see what's going on. Yeah. So people like wire stream to a CS selector would be awesome, like a live log sidebar. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Every component can just add to it. Wire stream, can we add both? Maybe, yeah, because I guess the front end, prefix like old JS classes, current wire stream is better and my consistency is key. Yeah, I agree, Ryan. Fabio, wire stream for me. JS target, Livewire target. Okay. I'm going to keep it as is. We've already talked about it like that. And then I think I didn't realize, but in the future, we just change this or whatever. Maybe we do just named arguments or something like content. I guess you can name them. So it could be like CSS target, or something like that. And then here you could just say foo. So we could potentially, without introducing a breaking change, introduce that functionality in the future, and it might not be that insane. Okay, but other than that, I mean, streaming works. I know people are using it. It's just not documented outside of my Laracon talk. So yeah, let's do this. Let's get back to what we were talking about with, because I do have a question about this directives documentation style. Named argument instead of value object, but also accept a plain string for non-selector based targeting. Okay, what if stream method could accept? I'm reading the comments in reverse, which is not a great idea. Some sort of value object to differentiate between the two. That's true, right? Yep, absolutely, we could do that. Named argument, another option. Wire stream, wire target. Is bad currently, you can stream to multiple target. ID is bad currently, you can stream to multiple targets. Oh, really? You can stream to multiple targets? Huh, I didn't know that. Cool. All right, so we talked about stream. Good stuff. Let me just kind of just so that I have more guidance, let me get your opinions on how we would document directives. Yeah, something like wire model. Here's my questions I'm going to throw at you. Yes, I am learning about my own project. I do that a lot. wire model. You add on text inputs, select inputs, whatever. On that documentation page, do you see, like in the Alpine docs, X model, there's every type. You just scroll down, you get text inputs, you got your, all your different types of inputs. It's very referencey. It's very straightforward. All of your, modifiers and whatever. It's all very straightforward and simple. In the Livewire docs, we could do the same, but like the approach that I've taken so far is in forms. I have a page called forms. It's like anything you want to do with forms. Of course, where would you look for how to use a text input in Livewire? You would go to forms, is what I would think. And it shows you all sorts of form stuff. And then eventually there's this reference called input fields. And maybe this lives in wire model now. Like this would live in wire model. And then who references who? I'm probably going to duplicate a lot of content. That's okay. And then is there just a bit at the bottom here that's like input fields? Yeah. Yeah, you know what I should probably do? This is what I should do. I should start writing a page like wire model from scratch and just make it a full page as best as I can make it, and then identify the areas of duplication and decide if it's better to keep them duplicated or to reference one or the other, and then decide which one references which. Yeah, as long as you can search for input and click the first link. It's down here at the bottom. I'm sure there's a way to weight these Algolia search results by views, like the most popular ones, most commonly visited ones go at the top, because that would just make so much more sense in a lot of scenarios. Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of my hang up with that. I think maybe what I end up doing, it's not going to be fun. It's going to be really not fun. It's just writing out full documentation for all of this and then deciding what to remove or link to from somewhere else. Like wire poll. Okay, here's a question. Here's another question. Algolia has weighting for sure. Yeah. I would just reference the wire model section. Yeah, since you use it without the form. Yeah. Yeah, right. You can use it without forms. That's true. Okay. So this thing features here. Loading states. Let's see what would be killed by directives. Loading states, polling, and dirty states and offline states. So do all these become, do all these become just wire colons and get removed? Or is it like really important to express the feature of polling separately than the reference of wire poll? That's the question on everybody's mind. Does anybody have a thought? Do we keep both, which feels a little weird to me? I guess we've sort of decided we're going to have this reference document. We're going to have this documentation. So if we're definitely going to have this, just wire poll would be fine. Otherwise, you need a duplicate. Yeah, we would need duplicate info or literally just a link. Polling would be like, here, go look at the wire poll documentation, which is silly. So it's either like duplicate the whole flippin' page. I don't want to get demonetized. I got to say flippin'. Just do wire poll. Okay. Andrew, how's it going? I'm not even going to attempt to say your last name. I never do. Andrew is a Livewire partner. He supports Livewire financially in a substantial way and hangs out on our bi-monthly calls, and he's just a good guy. Just wire poll. Yeah, okay, just wire poll. No, it's not monetized, Nick. I joke. This is my first YouTube video on this channel ever. And I'm probably just going to delete it and just keep it as a ephemeral stream. That's funny. Nick's like, I'm from Belgium and that sounds made up. All right. So that's helpful. Loading states we'll just keep down there. Dirty states we'll keep. Oh, this is going to be so much better. Here's another question for you. We have these directives. What about this? What about teleport. What else is like a Livewire specific directive? Oh yeah, right. So there's like at this, at entangle, at persist, at Livewire. True. This probably needs to happen too, folks, as I'm writing it. I want it to exist. Livewire scripts, Livewire scripts, Livewire styles, Livewire config, and then teleport and then teleport. Okay. Yeah. All right. Kevin Hicks, how's it going? GM to you. To you and yours. Okay, folks. We have new thoughts. What did I do wrong? This at, is that a no-go? See if that works. Right, I got to use that, the thing that Dan was talking about. Okay. Okay. Yeah. It is a lot of docs to write. I completely agree. Oh, wire model as well as modelable React. Okay. Folks, we're getting crazy. This is too crazy. But like, do we also want you know, do we want that? Is this getting out of hand? And what are these called? That's directives. This is blade. These are attributes. Is this good? Okay, someone said no. Is this good? Tell me if this is good or bad. Attributes start with. Don't tell me how to write my attributes. I joke. Is this an essential good or bad? Write to me good or bad. All the blade directives here. And we could probably get rid of these three. I don't know. Maybe not. All of the attributes here. Good or bad, shout it out. Some of these pages would probably be pretty thin because I'd be like, read the other documentation or something. You know? High Sky says a bit too much, I guess. Good. I personally like it. Rules are attributes, but also have methods. True. And that's why there's going to be, you know, you're going to go to validation for all your validation stuff that's got the methods and the blah, blah, blahs and whatever. It's tricky at that point. Agreed. Good. But the at symbol looks weird. Yeah, but we kind of need it there. Like for me, I want to see the actual syntax. I see what you're saying, but I think I need to see the actual syntax. Good. Maybe create an API page which will have all these things. Yeah, it's true. And that's good. You know, a reference page, which like I did in the Livewire 2 docs. Yeah, I did that in the Livewire 2 docs. And I think I just personally, I don't know. I guess I do like that it exists, but I think about my interaction with other tools. And I think I would rather see this. Like I really love the Alpine docs like that. I remember this being kind of like a bold decision at the time, which just seems obvious in hindsight, was like, wait, why don't I just literally make a page for every single API in Alpine? And then you always know where to go, you know? Have you ever been in Alpine and not known where to go for something? Like, no, you just go to the thing, you know? And that's sort of what I think it should be the same. So yeah, we should probably beef up, yeah, the attributes list and, you know, whatever. So yeah, I don't think question would cause any extra work. So yeah, but cross-link content, yeah, can cross-link for sure. I like the reference. Dennis likes the reference page on V2. That's good to know. I like a reference. Right. So do we, maybe not even looking at the sidebar is informative enough. I know that's kind of the thing, is if you're looking at the sidebar, you know, I'm thinking of like ES Build. When I'm on ES Build's doc, well, they don't have search, so that changes one thing. But I like scrolling. The sidebar to me is a guide to the tool, you know? It's like useful as a table of contents for the entirety of what is available in the tool. And there's definitely been times, I'm trying to think of other stuff, like there's times where you're just for fun scrolling and seeing what's available. Like you went to do wire loading and you're like, wait a second, that was delightful. What else is available? Oh, I wonder what offline is. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys for hanging out and sweating these documentation details with me. I like a reference, yeah, but in cross-link content, I don't think question. All right. Maybe move it to the very bottom, says Dennis. The list becomes very long and pushes advanced. Ah. Yeah. True. Everything below the reference stuff is definitely going to feel like it's dangling, you know? So it should. Yeah. Are we getting in trouble here, folks? Is this too much? Because this list is going to be fairly long. But like, here's a question. Encrypted doesn't exist yet. It's in a pull request. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist yet. Yeah, it's still in a pull request where you can encrypt a property's metadata that goes back and forth to the server. So like if you want to obscure a model class name or a primary key, it would do that. Is it just here, or is it a feature called encrypted properties, you know? And same thing with computed. Is it just a feature called computed properties, or is it hashtag bracket computed, you know? And the answer is probably a little bit of both, depending, you know? Collapsible, true. Collapsibility is something. Having it sort of, you know what I like, this is kind of an insidious thing here. We do this that actually tricks you into clicking it because it feels like, you know, I just click to get more. Maybe. I don't know. I'm guessing that's what this feels like. But then it just takes you to our product. We could make that actually work, you know, like for something like attributes. Like where did all that go? It could kind of fade out right here with like an arrow or like a show all that then expands, you know? And that might feel nice. Because I don't love big piles of collapsible stuff. I don't know why. But I feel like just kind of truncated instead of expand collapse, just truncate it, hit expand, and it expands, you know? And then maybe it sets like a local variable that you expanded that thing, and then it just does it, you know, all the time. Okay, Nick wants a list of all the attributes. Yeah, I thought that too. Is attributes the right heading? That's a great question. It feels weird. Is it PHP attributes? Annotations, property attributes? Probably property attributes, right? That's what it is. It's property attributes. Agreed? Directives. Could say HTML directives, maybe? HTML directives. Blade technically is blade directives. You know, property attributes. Yeah. $persist. Yeah, right. I know. That's probably what I would use. That UI components is horror because there's no easy way to click back to the normal Alpine docs. Oh, seriously? So you click here, and then, oh, this just keeps you on this page. That's brutal. We're gonna message Jason Beggs right now and tell him this is unacceptable, Jason Beggs. He is the worst. Right? I just joked. Jason's the best. Jason Beggs. I'll explain later, but I just don't want to forget. So I'm sending him a message. Okay. +1 for component attributes. Yeah. Component attributes, you say. Nah. Oh, well, I guess it's not always just for properties. Did somebody already say that? Yeah, it's not just for properties. Bah. No, I did not know about that. Yeah, this is one of those things that comes from, like, I'm never going to click on this. I'm only going to click on this if I'm trying to go here, you know? And I just don't look at the docs for Alpine. I think that's probably why I don't notice. Yeah, component attributes. Nick, I agree it is unacceptable. Well, we'll solve it. I'm going to tell Jason, and he's really good about that stuff. Hi, everybody here. Yeah, hey, B-Tech. You also have lazy. That's true. Cool. Good to know. Good to know. Lazy rules can be defined in the class. Man, the stream is best. We got to fix on that. Hey, this is the place. I love it. Any things that bug you about any of this stuff, I want to hear about it, of course. Yeah. So we're stressing over. This isn't necessarily property attributes because lazy's on the class, and what else? Like JS is a method. Component attributes. We have to use the word attributes, right? We have to, because that's what it is. It's really between PHP attributes and component attributes. And it's probably just component. Yeah, good enough. Okay. All right, so we document all these, and yeah, the move is, I guess, to just like take a bunch of Adderall and just write all of these in one day. JK, I've never taken Adderall, just so you guys know, in case anybody's mad at me for saying that. Yeah, because this is going to be a freaking lot of work. But we got to do it. All right, so this is something that needs to get documented. Imagine if all this was documented, and then we also had third-party JS integration, : This is what we talked about last stream, and I actually did start writing it and thinking about it. And I definitely need to do more of that and see it through. But there's other stuff I want. I want this coming from React, Vue.js, inertia, Blade. Basically, it's like, where is your area of comfort here? And I want to tell you, if you come from Vue and you're like, wait, I'm used to doing this. This is just a big old guide of like equivalents, like equivalent of prop down change event up for vModel. If you're a Vue user, you know exactly, like, this is a question for you. You already have an anchor of knowledge, so why don't we use those anchors of knowledge for where you come from? So anyway, I don't know. That's just a random thought that I had when I was pairing with somebody, maybe on the stream. Svelte, yeah, basically, like, wherever you come from, we're just going to give you a bunch of examples of, like, here's this component in Svelte. Here's a form submission in Svelte. Here's the exact same thing in Livewire. That's something I would love to do at some point. Yeah, I forget who I was pairing with. I was pairing with somebody, and I can't remember who at the moment. And they had deep view knowledge, and I just found myself, I found myself teaching them by basically showing them how you do stuff in Vue. And then it was pretty apparent. It's like, that's incredibly useful for people, you know. That's the magic of ChatGPT, is you can go to ChatGPT and, like, when I was learning React, I could just say, this is what I would do in Vue. How do you do this in React? Open an empty draft PR. Yeah. Okay. Well, so yeah, let's get this in a draft PR and then we'll open another one. So yeah, this is whip. This is whip. And what time are we at here? Doing all right. Okay. Pull request. Add reference documentation. Okay. And then, yeah. And then we can open a new PR for, I guess, I don't know where. Yeah. Right. Coming from Alpine.js. So what is it called? Is it literally called I'm coming from? Vue.js, React, Svelte. But here's the thing. People coming to Livewire are not coming from Svelte. They're barely coming from React. They're often coming from Vue. That's what it is, basically. So maybe it's Vue.js. It's a single page called Vue.js equivalents, maybe. You know? Christoph, Moo Tools, anybody? Oh, yeah. Moo Tools for life. Coming from Moo Tools? Oh. Yeah. Coming from jQuery. Right? Like, am I right? The only real one worth writing at the moment is coming from Vue.js. And that's what it should be called. Coming from Vue.js, right? Is that right? Is that wrong? And it should be in advanced. Yeah? Validate me, folks. Or tell me I'm wrong. Coming from Vue.js. Should be at the top, you say? Is it coming from Vue.js? Is it Vue.js equivalents? Really, is it coming from Vue.js or is it coming from Vue? Vue.js equivalents. The root top. I came from Angular. Oh. I bet that's not a common refrain around here. I think. Coming from front-end JS framework. Coming from. Migrating from Vue. That's it, Nick. Duh. Migrating from Vue. Duh. 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 Perfect. Thank you, Nick. Not duh like you said something that everyone should know, but duh like, oh, it's so obvious in hindsight. That's the exact thing to write. Migrating from Vue. Add. I guess the only problem with migrating from Vue is it might seem that it's more technical guide. Tell me, is this more, if I read migrating from Vue, do you picture it being a sort of like conceptual equivalence of Vue and Livewire? Or do you think it's like more technical, like, you know, I don't know, like a technical way to literally convert a Vue app into Livewire? You know? Oh, you think it should be under getting started. Interesting. That is ballsy, brother. Yeah. Naming things is hard. Probably not. Migrating from, probably not. Coming from front. I think it's a tech guide to move from one to the other conceptually. Okay. So Andrew is confirming that this is a good name and expresses what needs to be expressed. Yeah. Right. True. There would be a lot of good content there. Like, let's migrating from view. Okay. And let's create this file in docs. Shoop. So it would be like some of the options. The biggest one I think that people want to know is extracting nested components. And then within that, it's like extracting custom input fields. And there's probably other things like itty bitty things like SVG icons, like that kind of thing. But then there's also equivalent of v4 because there's no wire for, equivalent of vif, equivalent of v transition, and then you can just kind of search like, oh yeah, like how do you transition something? Is it even v transition? I think it is. Yeah, and there's probably other things. Context API. I don't know. Whatever. I think you might be overthinking the semantics here. Nick, are you just saying more broadly, like, get out of the weeds, bro? I think it's a tech guide move from one to the other conceptually. Yeah. Technical. Yeah. Right. Oh, well, Nick said that a minute ago. Maybe he doesn't still mean that. But all right. So we'll leave it at that. Add migrating from view documentation. And then this is just going to be a WIP PR. Did I misspell equivalent? Oh. Is it valent? All right. Yeah. And then we'll, where's the pull request? Branch main is, oh, did I just do that on the main branch? Bummer. That's okay. Undo last commit. And undo the other last commit. Okay. And it's still equivalent. Okay. 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 There it is. Migrating. Add migrating from view documentation. Create the pull request. Yeah, Adrian. Yep, good. GPT says these are important topics. What do you mean? All right. So we've done pretty good here. Like, is there anything else? Now's the chance. Is there anything else we should look at? I feel like we've been on stream for a minute. Oh, Nick tried to paste something from GPT and it didn't work. We've made less technical progress, but more just, marketing and education-y progress, which is very valuable. Regex. Well, the regex, I do love working on regex, but I don't know if there is any. Are there any PRs about the morph regex stuff that's not? This one's like, this doesn't seem like just a regex fix. This is like something else, Oh, I need to learn about skip. Dude, I can't do skip. That is a next level situation. Only ChatGPT can write a regex with skip in it. I should learn that though. Regex is so confusing. Do you know that? And do you know why? It's not because you have to know a bunch of obscure symbols. That's not what makes it hard. It's that it works in the reverse of how your imperative programming brain works. There are the equivalents of like go-tos, look-aheads, or a look-ahead is the equivalent of like a function call sometimes, but it's reversed. It's not just like do a thing, get the result, do a thing, get the result. It's like define what a thing is, then do. Oh, it's so dumb. Regex sucks. Yeah. What's that, Paul? What's long chain? I imagine you're suggesting a way an AI could write all that documentation. Yeah, I actually had ChatGPT write a ton of the Livewire docs when I first started just to get me going, and I ended up scrapping all of it. I thought I was on fire. I was like, this is amazing. ChatGPT is going to change everything. But it does an okay job. But yeah, I just found it's like not that much harder to write it all by hand as opposed to like reworking ChatGPT's scaffolding, But yeah, okay, so we made a bunch of progress here. I think we're probably going to call it because I have to pee, mostly. That's the real reason. And we've been hanging out for how long? How long has this chat been going? Yeah, I don't know. Does it say an hour and a half? Yeah. And I don't know. I'm conking out here. I'm conking out. So let's just say goodbye, folks. All right. Good stuff. Oh, yeah, funny. ChatGPT is getting more dumb. That's for sure. All right, folks. See. All right, I'll kill the video and we'll just tail off in the chat. And that's going to be that. OBS. So if I stop streaming, can we still chat?